What's going on? Welcome to another Sunday Q&A. I don't think I've done one for like a few weeks at least. So, yeah, I am at the shop and I've been working on some brake lines today. And I think it's time for a Sunday Q&A. So, I've been pretty much trying to get the charger done. I've been, working on this car for 2 years now. Last, I guess everybody says the last um, the last 10% is 90% of the work, and that's pretty true. So all the wiring is probably 90%. I just need to connect the ABS pump and connect some other stuff, the fuel pump as well. Figure some stuff out with the fuel tank, but I wanted to get these brake lines done so I could get them in and get some stuff permanently in as well. The next thing I want to do is the steering shaft and then probably the fuel tank, just so I could get the drive shaft finally permanently bolted in as well. So and like the fuel tank, I was thinking I could run like a fuel cell temporarily, like a 5 gallon one, but we'll see what happens. I really want to drive the car. It's something that I've just been thinking about every day for the past year, is wanting to drive the car, but it's definitely a lot of work. The brake lines, I wasn't really expecting to have to do brake lines, and the original plan was to use the Hellcat ABS pump, and then I had to use the Durango one, which um, I don't know. If I had factory support, I probably could have just used the Hellcat one, but it's Dodge has never reached out, um, and that's kind of crappy because it would be a lot easier if I could tell the Durango stuff to use the Hellcat ABS system and stuff like that. I'm sure I'm gonna eventually, I'm using all the Hellcat airbag module and all the sensors from the Hellcat or the Challenger charger or from the Charger, but we'll see. I'm sure I'm gonna be able to program that, but that's like the last system that I'm even worried about is the airbags working. So I have so much other stuff that I need to get finished, and I want to obviously drive the car finally. Let's see. Hello, Dave. What's going on? What's up, Dave? Not much. What's up? I would really love to do this to a Magnum. Well, you'd have to start off with a Charger. So, what happened to the rear wing you were working on? So I 3D scanned the rear wing. I had it in that video where I 3D scanned stuff, and I need to put my new computer together, and then I could finally 3D model the dash as well as the wing, and then I could get the mold made for the wing and finally have it done. So most likely I'm going to 3D print the wing first to make sure everything's going to work well and fit and not have any issues, but after that have a mold made and probably just bust them out. I'm sure I've been talking to Chad, so I'm sure Black Ops is still going to be producing the wings. That's not going to be an issue. It's just the last thing that I'm worried about, especially like those rear glasses in the rear doors. I want the car to run and drive. The glasses and the wing is like the last on the list. I mean, the dash is still before the wing and everything. So I don't need a dash in the car, but I'd rather have the interior finished before, it already has that Magnum wing. I know it's going to look better with the one I designed, but it's just one of those things. Sooner I can get it running and driving, the better it is for everything, for the channel, for me, for content. I mean, it's just like I said in the last video with the wiring. I was just like, yeah, the wiring, the project is literally killing the channel. At this point, I could have just been like Sam Crack, or Tavares does it as well. A lot of YouTubers do it on long projects. They just kind of put them off to the side, and then they start to get newer stuff and new content, stuff that's a lot quicker to do, and then they kind of just work on it or have other people work on it when it is convenient. But I really want to drive this car. I really love the car, so that's why I've built it. I don't want to just put it in a corner and just let it sit there until like people are interested in it again, because I know once it's done people will be interested. But it's just a process. It's just a lot of work to pretty much fabricate a car from the ground up, from scratch, especially all the wiring, all the systems. I mean, I've said this stuff before. Let's see. Would you do it again if you could? So if I did another one of these from, what I should have done, and I probably hurt myself not doing it this way, is I could have had the car done. It would have been done for a year and a half now. I could have fabricated all of the drivetrain in another shell, and I could have just had it rear wheel drive, been already driving it for a year and a half. Then I could have thrown all the all-wheel drive stuff in. It would have just made a lot more sense. I could have wired the whole car in the other, in the other chassis. But I took this route, which was probably the stupider route, because it's really hurt the channel a lot. I mean, I have so many other things. I mean, it's not 100% the car that's hurt the channel. I mean, getting parts has been a big thing. I know a lot of other people have been talking about parts, and not just parts, paint, pretty much everything is a nightmare to get. But then I would have, then it would have been running and driving. I would have made a bunch of content with it. Then I could have swapped it all-wheel drive. Is literally what I should have done, because I could have made, I could have made already 2 Roadkill Nights, which I'm kind of disappointed. It looks like Roadkill Nights, they're going to have it this month, at the end of this month in Vegas, and it's like one day during the day. I don't know. It's just weird. So I guess I'm not gonna take the car, because it's not gonna be. I don't think it's gonna be done. But there's still, I'm waiting for the revision of the fuel rails. I need to. Actually, I think the revision of the fuel rails. I have the fuel pressure regulator on the other engine. I test fit that. The bracket works good. I just need to make the lines, which those aren't difficult to make. It's just, I think a rear-wheel drive version from, I've told many people that ask me if they, if I could build them one. I'm like, yeah, I could build one. I'm only going to do rear-wheel drive. All-wheel drive doesn't make sense. It's just way too expensive, way too time-consuming. Now that I have everything really figured out, the all-wheel drive would probably be a lot easier. But to produce a whole nother all-wheel drive system and all the parts and pieces that go to it, it would probably add like 6 months onto it. So once everything's designed, it's really easy to reproduce. But making all of those designs and figuring all those parts, and now I have an idea of how all the wiring needs to be. So doing another wiring harness wouldn't be that big of a deal, but it'd just be really nice to be able to use a Hellcat harness. What my original idea was to use a Hellcat harness and then just add the all-wheel drive system into that harness. But I try to get support from Dodge. I try to get support from some other companies that modify and do stuff with the BCMs and the ECUs, and they were like, no, that's not possible. We can't do that. Dodge never got back to me. So this was the easiest way for me to get everything to work and not have an issue with the all-wheel drive system or any of those components, because it's all factory. It's all, the wiring isn't factory per se, but all the lengths of wiring are pretty much factory. So everything that matters. But yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. It's just a lot of tedious stuff to get the first like prototype. I mean, most companies, I was watching this thing, was it 2 nights ago, and their clay models that they build are like $650,000 for the like prototype model of a car, out of clay, and it takes them usually around 5 to 10 years to make the clay model. I built a whole car in 2 years, so, and it's like a factory car, but and then it's just funny when people say, "Oh, you're not done yet. You're not done yet." It's just funny because manufacturers take 10 times as long. But let's see. I picked up a 2008 Magnum RT all-wheel drive Friday. Nice. What's the steering shaft wheel from? So the steering wheel is from a Hellcat. I'm using the steering column from a non-Hellcat car because I want everything to be, I don't want everything to be manual, but it saves a lot of weight. So the Hellcat steering column has a bunch of electric motors. It probably weighs twice as much as like an SXT steering column where it doesn't have, why do you need the steering wheel to be power to come towards you and then go up? I mean, you're only going to adjust it once and then you're going to leave it for the rest of the time. So like I said, I'm using the SXT one where it doesn't have that, but I'm using the Hellcat steering wheel, the Hellcat clock spring, and the turn signal switch. And then I'm using a plate that I made that is going to hold the shaft with a Jeep. It's like a Jeep, like a roller bearing. So instead of being like floppy like in the Hellcats where it's just kind of like a plastic thing stuck in a rubber thing, it's actually going to be a piece bolted with a roller bearing, and the shaft's going to ride on that, so it keeps it nice and steady and true. And then from there, it's going to go to a U joint, and then to that CV joint to the steering steering rack. So it's and then the shaft that I'm using to connect all that stuff is it's just pretty much just a piece of steel from a 240Z. I think it's like 3/4 inch. It's just solid steel, so shouldn't have any issues. Once I weld everything up, I'll Cerakote it, that gloss, like semi-gloss black. It'll look really good, and then it won't take up a bunch of room. So, but the only other thing with the steering system is the new. I wish they would have released this before I made everything, but the Grand Wagoneer L's, they have a new steering column or new power steering rack where the output for the pinion on the steering is like a 45 instead of like a 90, which would have been so much easier with all the steering shaft routing and all of that. I wouldn't have had to order that special CV, U-joint and all that stuff. So yeah, maybe eventually I'll swap over to that in maybe the next revision, because I plan on revising the subframe, and I'd rather it be a little bit, a little less, a little less intricate on this whole steering system. I want to do a build on a Dodge Rebel 4-wheel drive. That'd be cool. Flew to St. Louis, Missouri, and drove back to North Carolina. Nice. Let's get the likes up, people. Thanks. Good evening from Florida. What's going on? Hi, what's going on? I'd love to have one. Yeah, I mean, once it's done, it's going to be awesome. I can't wait to be able to just drive it around. It's going to be a very interesting car that's just really subtle because it looks factory. I just want people to be like, where'd you buy this from or something, or I want to go to the dealership and buy one. Which on my TikTok, I have a bunch of people on my videos that are like, oh, I didn't know they made a Dodge Magnum, and then people are like, oh no, he made it himself, and they're like, oh, I thought it was factory. And that's like what I wanted for like the whole build, the whole time, is it just to be just really subtle but cool enough to be, to be like really cool. I don't know. It just took a lot of work, but it's cool. Let's see. I want to do a build point blank. Don't know where to start. You just got to start. How far along are you on the dashboard? So the dash is 3D scanned. I just need to design it in CAD, and then I'm going to 3D print pieces of it, make sure everything's going to fit like I'm going to do with the wing, and then I'm going to have either a casting resin mold, or I'll do a 3D printed piece, or something like that. I mean, I would like to do an injection mold, but you have to make a die for the injection mold. Then you have to have a big enough machine to injection mold that die, which is like hundreds of thousands of dollars. So 3D printing is probably going to be perfectly fine if I have it 3D printed on one piece out of something. I could even have it printed out of carbon fiber or something like that, because it's going to withstand the high temperatures that the interior gets in the summer, the cold temperatures, and it's not really going to degrade over time, because it is, 3D printing is usually pretty good as long as you get, have it done with a good printer and not just like, some stuff and then glue it together. But I also could wrap it in carbon fiber, but then it'll be too glossy, and I'd rather have it covered in leather like it would be from the factory, because it just looks really, really nice and clean. Let's see. I'd like you to teach us things. I like details. Yeah? I'd love to get an '08 Magnum SRT8, but slim in my state, out of state. There are many, but overpriced. How clean would you like to have your shop? I mean, if the thing is just time. I could clean all the time, but then I can't really work on projects. If I work on projects, I can't clean all the time, so then the shop gets dirty. So usually what I do is I complete a task, like when I did the wiring, and then I clean the shop, and it just, I would like to just have I don't know how people do it. I see other YouTubers, and their shops are always clean. Not all of them, but I mean some of them. And it's just like, how do you find the time to clean it like that all the time? Like, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just me, but I cannot figure out. I'd love to have the shop like all organized and clean, and I mean, it just takes me so much time, and it just takes so much time. Let's see. If I find another '08 RT all-wheel drive, I will buy it. More options than previous years. Let's see. It's hard to get vehicles this way to do builds. When are you driving the car? When it's drivable. Let's see. What would your next build be, and what would you like to see next? I really want to get I have so many things that I need to get done, like the Durango, which I've said what the issue is with the Durango. I mean, I do have the engine and tranny in the Charger right now, but I don't have paint for it. I bought a gallon of paint, and then I used half a gallon of paint, which is unreduced. So it's a gallon of paint reduced to paint just the shell of the Durango, which is an issue. So what I was told from a body shop is, and why I probably use so much paint, even though that green is transparent, it should still cover like the Plum Crazy that I painted the VR4, and it only took me half a gallon to paint all of the VR4. And the Charger is the same kind of paint from Sherwin-Williams, and it only took, I think I only used like not even 3/4 of a gallon. I think I still have a lot, because I still need to repaint, or I still need to paint that red eye hood, because I'm going to put the red eye hood on the car. But yeah, half a gallon to paint just that shell is ridiculous. So what this guy that I know from a body shop told me is, since paint companies aren't able to get all the supplies they need to make the paint, they're substituting stuff to make the paint, which is making the coverage go down, because it's really what you're paying for is a high quality, whatever it is, a 7000 series paint from Sherwin-Williams should cover great. But what they're doing is they're putting in the cheaper, the cheaper ingredients into the higher, the higher up stuff. So then it doesn't cover well, because you're technically getting like the cheap paint, but you're paying for the expensive. You're paying double what you would pay for the expensive paint now, and then it doesn't cover. So you need 3 times as much to paint the same. It's just crazy. And he said that they're adding like some of the colors now, because they can't get stuff. They're adding lead into the paint again, so they can make the colors. Which I don't know how true it is. I was just talking to him, and he's like, yeah, that he's been having issues. He's been using like 3 times as much paint because none of it covers anymore. And he's like, yeah, it's not even worth buying the expensive stuff, because they're just cheaping out to make the colors. And yeah, so that's the issue with the Durango. I want to get the Durango done, because it's just, everything is everywhere in the shop, just taking up a lot of, the whole office is all Durango parts, which I'm probably going to use the other half gallon to paint the engine bay, the back of the doors, the back of the hood, the back of the hatch, and the interior of the Durango. And then I could get all the interior, the new carpet, all that stuff, the dash, the wiring, everything back into the Durango, so it's not taking over the shop. And then once I get the other gallon of paint, I'll be able to spray the fronts of the doors. Probably, depending on if it perfectly matches, I might have to end up respraying the quarter panels on the Durango, and which will kind of suck, but if I have to, I'll do it, and then get everything put back together. But I also want to do the VR4, and that shouldn't be an issue. But like I've said before, I just want to get the Charger done, because it's just bothering me that it's not running and driving. I thought I was going to already be driving this car for a very long time, but the all-wheel drive system, I didn't foresee it being such a big process, and then I had so many issues getting parts and stuff like that. So it'll be cool to drive it. Let's see. You're an extremely smart guy. Sometimes I feel like I'm too smart for my own good, because if I would have just made the Charger rear-wheel drive and been driving it, I probably would have never even thought of making it all-wheel drive. Because Weston messaged me probably like a year ago now, and he was like, I want to make my Charger all-wheel drive for Roadkill Nights. And I was like, no, don't do it. It's not worth it. It's going to take way too much time. Everything is custom. Everything has to be fabbed. And then he never did, which, it would have been cool for him to do that. But at the same time, it would have, it probably would have killed the Charger, and it would have never made it to Roadkill Nights. So, that's my whole issue, is making it all-wheel drive. Was, everything's custom. There isn't one thing on the car, other than probably the tail lights and the fenders, the rear bumper, the front bumper, the hood, and stuff like that, the flares. But everything else is 100% custom. So yeah, it's just let's see. What's up, Dave? Not much. Let's see what's going on. How much horsepower do you think the Chrysler 300 Charger all-wheel drive system can handle? Do companies build upgraded transfer cases? I don't think they do, but I've heard their max is like 500 or 600 horsepower, and then anything over that, and they just like blow up. So that's why I never want to use it, because that's when when I first started the project, everybody's like, constantly, why don't you just use the police car all-wheel drive? Why don't you just get a police car and put a Hellcat engine in it? And I was like, no, it's not going to handle the power. The transfer case is literally half the size of the Trackhawk one, and the chain in the transfer case is half the size. So it's just like why want to, why would you want to put 1,000 or 1,600 horsepower at something that's just going to constantly break? You're always going to have to be working on it. And that's another issue, why the project takes so long, is because I don't want to build a car and have it, make videos of it and then just be like a YouTuber that's like, every other video is like, my car broke, this broke, that broke. It's great. I guess it's great for content. It does make sense, but at the end of the day, it makes you look bad because your car is always breaking, and it's obviously not the parts. So, and hopefully it doesn't break. Hopefully I could just put launch control on, put this thing at like $4,000, $5,000, depending on how tacky the track is. Launch it with slicks on it, and never have anything go bad, never have anything break, because that's exactly what I'm hoping for. So I mean, something's always going to break, but if you can mitigate most of the stuff, it just is so much. It's just so much more enjoyable to drive a car around and not have to like, I could drive this across country and not have to worry about something breaking and then being broke down and then have to figure out how to fix it because everything's 100% custom and stuff like that. So hit the freaking like. Thanks. Greetings from New Zealand, Dave. Good job cleaning the shop. Thanks, Patrick. How much for a Hellcat Magnum? So I've told people before that it has to start off as a Charger. I'm not going to do a Magnum. I'll do like a drivetrain swap into a Magnum, but I'm not going to make put the rear tail lights and stuff from a Charger into a Magnum. I'll build a Charger, make it a wagon, but it's $150,000 because it's a lot of labor, and nobody, at that price, nobody's going to do it. So, and then you have to bring me a Charger. Don't care. It could be a 3.6, it could be a 6.4, it could be a 5.7, it could be whatever, 6.2. But at the end of the day, it's just for the conversion. And then it doesn't make sense to convert a 3.6 or a 6.4 or any of the other stuff. So, because it's a lot of money. But there's nobody out there that in the whole United States, actually in the whole world, because somebody sent me like one from the Middle East. And it was just a Magnum that was converted. It looked decent, but you could tell the quarters were all bunched up and stuff like that. And all the ones in the US are like that as well. So I'm the only one that does it like this. I mean, and all the other ones are cool too. I mean, I'm not saying that. I think people, when I comment on stuff, people will tag me and they'll be like, oh, this is, this guy beat you to it or something like that. And then I'll be like, well, it's a totally different build. No, they really didn't. But and then I feel like they think I'm being mean to that person, but I'm not, because I think everybody's car is cool and there's a bunch of cool builds, but most of the time I'm just telling the person that's calling me out to, I'm just talking down to them. But it is what it is. When am I going to replace Biden? Man, I tell you this, if I ever was president of the United States, every road would be glass. And I'd just I'd cancel the EPA. I just cancel them because they're worthless. But other than that, I mean, I'd do a bunch of other stuff. But I mean, we all know. Yeah. And I'd open all the racetracks back up. I'd be like, yeah, something, you built your house next to a racetrack, you could deal with it. Be like, they're all getting opened back up. Let's see. Love it from the first time you started on this because the idea is so cool. Thanks. When's the next video? I should have a video tomorrow. It just kind of depends. I was making all those custom brake lines, and I'll pretty much do that video. Dave for president. What's going on with the Durango? Just, I'm waiting on another gallon of paint. Can you bring me a coil for a Pathfinder? One of mine died. Are you in Denver still? How many years has the Wagon Hellcat project been going on for? I think it's just, I don't know. I need to go look back at the first video, but I feel like it's just over 2 years I've been building it. And that's not even like building it, because I think I waited 6 months or something for all the body panels. Then I had to go pick them up from New York. And then I had to wait for a bunch of other stuff. I mean, I think probably half of the time has just been waiting for stuff. The front drive shaft is still not here. I've ordered that thing. It has to be over a year now that I ordered that, because I got the rear one. I was like, I think when I got the rear one, I said in, what was that, September of last year. I think it was 8 months before I got that one. So yeah, it's because I don't want to. The thing is I could have a local shop make a shitty drive shaft, or I could have the best of the best make the drive shaft and never have an issue with it. So, and it's all, great drive shaft, but it's it's just how I am. I uh, just it kind of irritates me sometimes, because I'm like, I would love to just be somebody that doesn't care, that I could just get something running. I wish I could be a person that gets a flat tire and just replaces that one tire. I'm the person that blows a tire out or something and then replaces all four tires. So I it's it just, I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm like that. Let's see. Let's see. Love to build just some things different. A Durango mixed with a Jeep. That RX-7 is nice. Yeah, so the RX-7, well, I don't know, the FC and the FD, I I really love the cars, and I need to get the FD running, and I want to see how good the turbo is on it, because I have the newer turbocharger and the manifold I designed and all that stuff. I've said this before, but I want to drive it and see how it is. The only issue I have with the FD and the FC is I'm tall, and they're not really tall friendly cars. So I don't I don't know if I really want to keep them, because I can't take either one of them to the road course. I can't take them to the drag strip because I can't wear a helmet in them because I'm too tall. So it's, the only thing I could do is drive them on the street, and I'm still almost too tall for that. So I might end up selling the FC and the FD eventually. I don't know, maybe not. I might just keep them just to keep them, and just drive them and hope as I get older I start to shrink more. So next build should consider building a mid-engine car. That'd be kind of cool. Will the next video consist of wiring finish and touches, or interior finish finally starting to get finished? So the interior is all going to be factory charger except for the dash, so it all just is going to bolt in. But no, the next video is going to be brake lines, and probably the video after that's going to be the FC. I had to do some stuff to that, and hopefully I have a few videos out this week, because the wiring and the cleaning of the shop took a little bit of time. I mean, the wiring took way more time than cleaning the shop, but hopefully I can get to some good stuff, because it is, it's hard to, as one person, to be able to do everything that you need to do, and also make videos, and also create content and stuff like that, even though it's my job. But yeah. Yep. Let's see. The earth is flat. Do you watch F1, Dave? I really don't watch much of really. I watch a bunch of movies and stuff like that, but as far as sports or any of that stuff, I really don't watch any of it. I don't follow any football, any basketball, any racing, any of that stuff. It's just, if I want to go to the racetrack and race, I'll just go. But that's how I've always felt. If I want to play football, I'll just play football and not watch it. It's just, I don't know. I've never really got into any of that really sports stuff. I used to play soccer when I was a kid, and there's like this whole thing, I guess. And yeah, and then I just never was into it. Let's see. Have you thought about getting a part-time helper, either cleaning or filming, editing? Um, like I've said before, it'd be cool to do it, but the issue is, I have a guy that sometimes comes and helps me. I'll probably have him help me with the Durango, but the issue is around here, especially with filming and editing, there's not going to find anybody to do that stuff. Help, it's almost impossible to find people to help in like come and work and stuff like that. It's just too much of a hassle almost to even worry about it, because it's you like they'll come and help, and then they won't show up, and it's just easier right now to kind of do everything myself. I wish I didn't have to, but um, maybe and maybe eventually I won't have to, which would be really awesome if I could, especially like having some friends over here and mess around and stuff like that. But I don't think that's ever going to happen. So I just continue to just work by myself, all alone at the shop all the time. Would you do a elephant engine in a build? So the Charger is going to get a 426 in it. So technically, I'm not going to buy one of those engines from Dodge, because $30,000 for an engine. I think they're actually more expensive than that now, but $30,000 for an engine, you could get way better of an engine if you just built it had a machine shop build it and never had to worry about it. There's so many companies out there that have 426s that you can buy that are like 15 to 20 grand, and they're like warranted, I think, up to like 2200 horsepower, where Dodge's Elephant is like 1,000, and that's it. So let's see. When you get this car built, I want to fly to Colorado and take a ride in it. I mean, that'd be cool. Will the Magnum wagon go to SEMA? I mean, hopefully it goes this year. When's the Magnum going to be ready? When all the stuff is finished on it. The EPA administrator is the worst, since they are extremely strict. Most people want the EPA gone. So I don't think people realize that the EPA, I really don't want to get into this, but the EPA is probably responsible for more natural like spills and stuff like that, or like disaster, I guess you'd say. They're not really natural disasters, they're more like spills and stuff like that. I mean, most of the stuff in the Michigan lakes is because of the EPA. I mean, a bunch of stuff in Florida, all that green, algae that grew in the ocean by Florida was because of the EPA. I mean, it's just crazy. They have such like control over people deleting their trucks, and all these shops doing deletes and stuff that's not even contributing to anything. But they're completely fine with dumping, you know, tons and tons of like lead or fluoride or stuff in lakes, and then it going into the ocean and causing a bunch. It's just like well, it's just like the double standard thing is just irritating. But it it's the good old government. No, I got home finally. I mean, I'll bring you a coil. I'll just tow that whole pathfinder over there. Let's see. Has any higher upside at Dodge said anything to you? Anything about your new Magnum? No, I haven't. I haven't even heard from any. The only person I've ever heard from at Dodge is the techs at the dealership when I drove the car by there. That's it. Like, I've never heard from anybody in any position at Dodge other than a tech. That's it, which is crazy to think that, when I first started this project and I got the body done and everything, and there's a bunch of articles that magazines were writing on the car and publishing, and you'd think that somebody at Dodge saw that and they would have been like, oh yeah, maybe we should, reach out to this guy or something like that, but nothing ever. I mean, it's just crazy. And then, when I was at SEMA this last year, I talked to some, I guess it wasn't really Dodge's marketing people, but kind of their marketing people, because they have to talk to like the company that does all their marketing. And I think that's the biggest issue with Dodge is they have a third party company do all their marketing. The people that are doing all their marketing at the third party company are just like, they're not car people. They're just there to do a job. They do some stuff and it gets some traction. I mean, look at the chief donut maker role. There's so many other people that were way better for that position. I mean, I really, there's Kale. I really don't think, Kale does a bunch of stuff. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think he's, people perceive him as being more, doing more stuff than he actually does, like the Magnum swap and, just swapping all the Dodge stuff into cars. But at the end of the day, he does it. And he would have been, there's him, Jose, there's so many other Dodge people but then, like I said before, Dodge put this random dude into a position, a social media position. He had zero following, zero Dodge following, and he had to like learn as he went. And I mean, I never have really keeping track of what happened with it, but the last time I saw it was when he was doing, I think, something for Roadkill Nights, and there was like 50 or 100 people on the live stream, but it was him doing it for Dodge at Roadkill Night. It was just really cringy, not his fault. Dude seems like a cool dude, but it's just like Dodge's marketing department just throws some random guy in. Oh yeah, you're now an influencer doing social media. You've never done it before. Here's 150, here's 150K. Here's a Hellcat. It was just really, really cringy. So, and it would have been cool to get the position. I mean, like I said, there's all kinds of other people that they could have literally reached out to Cletus. They could have reached out to any other influencer that was already established. Like, making a following, I've talked to so many people that, like so many friends that their girlfriend knows a girl that tried to do OnlyFans but never had a following, so she like got a real job again because she couldn't make it doing OnlyFans, because people don't realize how difficult it is to start off from zero followers to having, whatever, to having enough to do anything, which there's always more, and there's always, it'd always be better if there's more, but yeah, it's just crazy. Just let's see. You've made the only family friendly and 6'7" friendly supercar there is anything close to yours as a family friendly supercar. I don't know. I mean, I this one guy wanted to trade me a Viper for my Hellcat, and I tried to sit in the Viper, and I was just like, no, this is not happening. Like I can't even close the door. Like, so yeah, I don't know. It's just weird how, I mean, the like an R35 GTR, it's crazy how much room there is in them. It's like they were built for tall people and short people, but I mean it's just crazy how much room is in an R35 GTR. Like the 240Z too. It has a crazy amount of room in it, and it's the tiniest car ever. But the FC and the FD, the worst for tall people. The Durangos are great, tall person car. The Charger, I mean, my Challenger is, but the like I said, with the helmet on, my helmet hits that like edge on the sunroof headliner. If it didn't have a sunroof, it'd be perfect. So let's see. Let's see, Dave, do you still have your Super Duty? I do have it. I was almost thinking about running it through the auction and seeing what I get for it, because like I kind of want to get rid of it so I could get a newer truck, but it's I don't know, like everybody wants to just lowball you on stuff on marketplace. So, and I know I've watched trucks like Super Duties that are wrecked, like pretty decently wrecked in the front, and they're going for like 40 wrecked, and mine is decent. I mean, it needs work, but it runs and drives perfectly. You know, like it needs the roof and stuff painted, and some other stuff. But I mean, it has brand new tires on it, runs and drives perfectly. It's a Lariat Ultimate, and I had it listed for 45 grand on Facebook, and people were like, "I'll give you 30." I was like, "You can't even get one at the auction for 30. Like you can't even get one at the auction for 40 wrecked." So I don't know. And mine has a clean title. It's just crazy. So I was thinking about just running it through the auction. This dude sent me, actually the reason why I want to run it through the auction is this dude sent me this '06 F650 that he ran through, and it was wrecked. It was a rollback, wrecked super hard in the front, and he got $22,000 out of it, and it was hammered in the front. I was just like, how? And it had 650,000 miles on it. I was like, my truck has 140K. It's a 17 Lariat Ultimate. It would have to bring exactly what I want or more. So I don't know. I don't know. I just want like a newer truck. Wouldn't be bad to get like a newer one. Probably probably like a, I don't know if I really like the 21, the 22 grills and the headlights, but maybe like a 19, maybe a 20. I don't know. I'd have to see. It's all up in the air. I've just been too busy doing other stuff. Hello, Charlotte, North Carolina here. When will you go on tour or travel with it and show state to state at Mopar events, other events? The world needs to know and see your creation. So yeah, once it's done, I'm going to be taking it all over the country. Trust me on that one. Dave, you need to replace all four after getting a flat since all need to match. I mean, most cars, I mean, just like cheap stuff, I mean, it really doesn't matter if they don't have LSDs and stuff like that. But I'd still replace it because I don't like dealing with tire issues. Why wouldn't you use the Hellcat motor you bought recently and put the Durango motor back in the Durango? So the Hellcat engine is rear wheel drive over there, and the one in the Charger is all wheel drive. So I would still need a transmission, which it doesn't make sense to split that engine from the tranny. Plus, that's a 16 supercharger, and the newer superchargers make a lot more power because they they have, like I showed in that video, they have the webbing that goes all the way up to separate the intercooler bricks. So plus it adds a lot more rigidity to the supercharger. I guess it makes like 50 or 75 more horsepower just because of that. Let's see. Hey Dave, how are you doing financially? The channel seems dead recently with even Trevor talking of his struggles financially with his own channel. Have you considered getting a videographer or editor? So I think the issue with my YouTube channel isn't that I feel like it's an issue with YouTube and not the channel per se. I'm guessing what's happening is my videos are not getting shown to my subscribers at all. I mean, I know there's a few people that are like, oh, this, that, or, they nitpick stuff. Why is this taking so long? You're never going to finish this project, stuff like that. But I feel like the biggest issue with my channel is the wiring. It took me a month to do the wiring. I didn't have a video for a month because I was wiring the car. And YouTube, every day you don't post a video, it downgrades you. And then you almost have to start back over. So then, I post a video, a wiring video. It doesn't recommend my video to any of my subscribers. So nobody watches it. I get 10,000 views or whatever instead of 100,000 views. And it's just easy to see because I could post something on TikTok or Instagram. So my wiring video on TikTok did, I think, 8 or 12 million views. And my video on Instagram did, I think, 7.9 million views. And I did the same video on YouTube and it did 10,000 views. So you could see that there's some disconnect in it's YouTube 100%. It's not the content I'm creating. I know the project has taken a long time, but there's a lot of people that are interested in wiring a car or the progress of the project, etc. But if they're not seeing the notification or if they're not ever getting the notification that I'm putting a video out there, I've had many people say, oh, I didn't even know you had a video in the last month, or I didn't know you had, I haven't seen this project in a while and it hasn't been recommending me the videos. It's unsubscribed me from your channel, etc. There's a list that goes on. And it's just this weird social media thing that is, I think it's the part of YouTube and most social media that's broken. And I think it's really the part that gives people a lot of stress when doing being a content creator or influencer or whatever you want to call it, is that you always have to post. It won't recommend your videos. So you always have that in the back of your head that, oh, I'm going to make this video. I haven't posted in a month. It's not going to get any views. But instead, what should be happening is you should, post your video. It shows all your subscribers that the video is there with a thumbnail. Either they're going to watch it or they're not going to watch it. I mean, it's not, they subscribe to your channel. They click the bell on your channel for a reason, because they want to watch your videos. If they didn't want to do that, they wouldn't be subscribed to your channel. So, and then it just, TikTok and Instagram is a really good kind of a benchmark because, and especially TikTok, because they don't care. They'll push your video. If it's getting traction, if people are watching it, it's just going to get pushed to the moon. So, but I make money off of TikTok. I make money off of a bunch of other stuff, stocks and stuff like that. So I'm not too worried about it. It does, it is irritating because I do make some money off of it, but it's, it is what it is. If I need to do something, I'll figure it out. What is your favorite movie? So I would say probably my favorite movie. I don't know. I have a few of them. I'm I like a lot of sci-fi stuff. So Back to the Future. I really like that movie. I've watched it probably a million times. Interstellar. I really like that movie. you know, a bunch. I don't know. There's a bunch of movies I like and stuff like that. And I can't wait. I'm probably gonna watch that 65 million year video or movie that's gonna be coming out. Seems like it's actually a pretty good movie, not some just like regurgitated stuff that they've been putting out for the past couple 10 years or whatever. So let's see. You must do a collaboration with Joe down there in Florida with Boosted Motorsports. Yeah, I mean that'd be cool. I mean I've never even talked to the guy, but I'm definitely once the car's done, I'm definitely gonna take it to Florida to, show it off to Chad and stuff like that. Can't wait till it's ripping around. Me too. I cannot wait. Man, I got 42 people on here and 48 likes. That's not too bad. I mean, not too bad at all. Do you think after the Magnum project you would venture out into foreign car builds? I mean, I've done some stuff. I want to get some of my JDM cars finished and running and driving and painted and the Durango done, and there's just a bunch of stuff that I need to do. It's just and finish. Yes, because Dodge could be doing a lot more with their cars and trucks as a whole. Dodge lacks an online presence. They do the bare minimum. It's crazy though, because if you think about Dodge, for the past, I'd say the past 20 years, they have been in pretty much their cars, they have been spending so much money to be in I'd say almost every movie they could be in all the events, I mean, social media wise, but I'd say media wise, Dodge is probably was the best, and now I feel like they're just like done. I think they're just like somebody probably got somebody probably quit, got fired, something happened, and they're just like done. Like they're just like they don't have that person there anymore, and they're like not. And they probably got somebody else, and they just doing the bare minimum now, and they're just like, oh well, I don't know why we're spending all this money on, or maybe the finance department got to them, who knows? And they're just like, oh yeah, I don't know why we're spending all this money on all this advertising and all this stuff. So, and I've been there, done that with finance departments. They're like the worst. Let's see. When's the Hellcat gonna be done? When some other stuff's done on it, probably pretty soon, I'd hope. Let's see, I would love to see an Elephant engine in a Charger or Durango. When you replace the entire frame on the Super Duty 2, you should mention that when you try to sell, maybe it will sell for more. So the diesel, the F350 has a clean title, so really I don't have to worry about saying anything because it's not like a salvage title or rebuilt title or anything like that. It's just a clean and clear title. It has a brand new frame, it has all brand new parts, but and there's no damage left, so I replaced everything. But I don't think that's the issue. I think it's just everybody that wants. So if I sell at the auction, and when I buy stuff at the auction, you have to have the money right there. You don't need to go finance it. You don't need to go do this. You don't need to go do that. You have the money. The issue with Facebook Marketplace is everybody wants to pretend like they have the money and waste your time, and then they want you to go down to the bank with them, and they want to get a loan. The bank has to look at the truck. You need the title with you. It's like a whole thing, and then they don't get approved for the loan, and you've wasted a whole day or 2 days or whatever it is. It's a waste of time. It's just people, I don't know. Sometimes it works fine, but most of the time it's just like people that don't have the money, can't get finance on it. because they couldn't get financed at the dealership, and then they want to waste your time and think like, oh well, I can't get finance for, I'm trying to get 45 grand on my F350, which I think is a very good deal. I can't get finance for the 45 grand, well, but I can get finance for like 40 or 39 or 38 or something. So you should take that. It's like, no, I'm not taking. No, it's just like, let's see. I live in Central California. Please go to more cities than LA and San Francisco. I probably would never go to actually, I might go to San Francisco because I have a friend there. But, I'd probably go to LA. I'd probably, I'll probably end up going to like, Petrolia and stuff like that, because I'm going to go places that, Sacramento, Petrolia, LA, places I have kind of places to like stay, but, and I think I have pretty much in most, I wouldn't say in all states, but in a lot of states, I have places, that I could crash. I could keep the car inside in like a garage and not have to worry about it, because I know how people are. I mean, it's just, I'm sure it's gonna, I'm sure somebody's gonna see it and they're gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna steal that Hellcat or the wagon or whatever, and then they're gonna get their ass beat, and then I'm gonna have to deal with the cops and stuff like that. But it's yeah, it would be better just to have it in the garage and not have to worry about it. Scream 6 is coming out next week. Dave, are you gonna watch it? I don't even think I watched all of the first Scream, and yeah, no, I'm probably not gonna watch that. That's really not my type of movie, because it's just like a bunch of people that you're just like, the whole time you're watching the movie, you're just like, why are you going there? Why are you doing that? Why don't you pick up that baseball bat and beat his ass with it? Like, it's just like, why are you running upstairs? Like, you're gonna have to jump off the roof and break your legs. It's just like, I just never got into those. So, let's see. See, Dave, out of everybody doing a Hellcat Magnum build, you're by far have the best one I've seen with the attention to detail you have done. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, I try to do it as good as I possibly could. That was the whole point behind the build. I didn't want to skimp out on a bunch of stuff, cut corners just to get views. I mean, I could have easily done it many times, but I don't know. And it's just hard, because you almost have to do that to like be successful on social media. Like, there's no middle ground. It's either you get stuff done and you just skimp on everything and it breaks a bunch, or you build stuff right. People complain about how long it's taking. A certain percentage of the people watch your videos are excited about it because they know what it takes to build stuff, or people just don't watch. So yeah, it's interesting. Happy Sunday, y'all. So Dave, what do you think your 60-foot and top end will be? At this point, I have no clue. I probably would have a better idea if I know how much it weighs, but I don't know how much the car weighs yet. So once I have that, well, once I know how much it weighs, it's going to run and drive, and I'll be able to do some pulls in it, and then I'll have a pretty good idea from there. But yeah, it's going to be fast. I think it's going to be pretty fast. This is a question everybody wants to know. You say the word "but" a lot. Do you get paid extra money? How many times you say the word "but"? I mean, no, not really. Will you ever get an exotic, like a cheap supercar you can bring back and maybe modify and flip, these videos seem to do the best. I don't know, really I don't know. It's pretty much anything does the best on YouTube. You just have to be able to continue to do it. So before I got the Hellcat or the Super Duty, I was gonna buy a Lamborghini Huracan, but it was at the auction. It was super cheap. It was only like 105 or 110,000. Clean title. It like needed the rear bumper put back on it. It looked like somebody pulled the bumper off, and then they just were like, "Oh yeah, it got wrecked," and it's like some insurance fraud stuff. But at the time, I forgot what the issue was. Oh, at the time, the car was going through the auction. You have to have, I think you have to have 50% of the money in your account to be able to bid on it. So I was trying to get my old boss to bid on it for me, and then I was just like, I'll just pay for it after we win the bid. But he wouldn't do it. So then it went through, and the person won it for like 105, 110,000, and now the cars are worth like $350,000. So, yeah, that was kind of a miss on that one. But put a Durango face on a Magnum next. I don't know about that. You post them while I'm at work on Sundays. Let's see. You need to put your car in a movie. That wouldn't be bad. The latest Dodge ads are just narration and reel from Hellcat buyers. But I love your idea on your builds. You're the reason I want to do a build myself. Thanks, I appreciate that. What's your plans after you finish the Magnum? I want to do a bunch of, events and stuff like that, etc. I mean, I want to take it to the drag strip, take it to the road course. I mean, take it to multiple drag strips. I want to, do, I want to do race week with it. I want to take it to, I don't know if they're doing Roadkill Nights in Michigan this year or not. I'm not sure. I'm kind of confused if what they're doing in Vegas at the end of this month is in place of what they're doing in Michigan in like September or whatever. But if they're still going to be doing the stuff in September, I want to do that. I want to do that event in Florida. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff. I want to do like Holly's Mopar Insanity would be cool. I think it's called Mopar Insanity, something like that. But yeah. I'm saving money for a second tank of gas. Hey Dave, is your grandma's old Lexus still kicking? I remember watching you fix the transmission issue. So yeah, she got a new Lexus. Her old Lexus worked perfectly fine. Then she sold it, and I'm sure the people are still driving it. I mean, it ran and drove great. It had like 200,000 miles on it, maybe more. But yeah, it was, once that transmission issue got fixed, it was good to go. The best thing about Scream 6 is the lead girl. Would you sell anything that you built? It depends on what it is. I mean, if the price is right. The delayed project will eventually be good, and rush project is bad forever. Guy from Nintendo. Huh. Because I would love to do a charger build, make it longer and wider too. How much wider and how much longer? Why would you want to make it longer? Do something like Donk Master and race the big cars. Interesting. Well, it looks like, hold on, what about the Volvo V70R wagon? Did you give up on it? So no, I haven't given up per se on it, but you know, it ended up getting hailed on. I have that new hood for it. I need to, I need to fix the hail on it. I I also have some coilovers for it. I have that other I have the S60R engine that I went through and refreshed, put a new timing belt and stuff. I have the manual swap. I need to get a clutch. The issue with the car, why I haven't put the coilovers on it, is I guess Volvo that year used the soy wiring, and a rabbit decided to eat all the wiring in the engine bay, so it doesn't run anymore, which is not good. So, but I have that other harness because I was going to do the manual swap anyway, so that's not an issue. I just need to, I need to finish the charger so I can work on some other stuff and get the Volvo with the coilovers and all the other stuff on it, get the manual swap done, and get it running and driving again. Would you ever go and play around in the Hoonigan's yard? They actually told me. So I don't remember if it was a Spotify live. I don't know if that's considered a podcast. I did a podcast with them, but something was going on with like all the mics and stuff like that. So they said that when the car's done, I could take it up there, and I'll probably take some other stuff so I could do some donuts. I'll probably put that other Magnum together with a Hellcat swap and bring that with me, so then I could do some crazy donuts. And I'm not going to do it obviously not going to do it in the Charger. There's no, I'll do a burnout in it, but yeah, I'm not slinging that thing around there. I probably would be fine, but I've seen too many cars get destroyed in that yard, and it's not going to be this one. So, but yeah, they said I could bring it, so that'll probably happen as well. I just need to reach out to them and just kind of once it's done. But add more seats to it, or a bench seat. Well, it's been over an hour. Like I said before, I haven't done a Sunday Q&A probably for a couple weeks, maybe a month, maybe 2 months. I really, it's hard to keep track with all the wiring stuff that was going on. But I'm going to end the live stream here. I'll probably have a video out tomorrow, and hopefully I could do 3 videos this week, which will be really nice. And then we'll kind of go from there. Hopefully I can get some more stuff done on the Charger, get the brake lines done, get the steering shaft done, and get the exhaust and the fuel tank, and we might be really close to finally firing her up. But thanks for tuning in to the live stream. See you guys next time.